Hi, thanks for joining the SG Child Show today. I'm really, really excited to bring this guest to you guys. I think that you will also be so excited and just to learn more about her and her experiences. Kaelynn, you were on season 1 or season 2? Season one of Love on the Spectrum. But let's talk to you about way before that. Let's just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself and we'll go from there.
Yeah, my name is Kaelynn Partlow. Most people know me from my participation in the Netflix series Love on the Spectrum. From there, my social media platforms kind of exploded. So I often get people recognizing me from like YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, and maybe they don't even know that I've been on the show, which is kind of flattering in its own way, just because it means that I've got a big reach and I'm impacting a lot of people. And it's not necessarily contingent on the Netflix show. So that's really exciting and very meaningful. In my day-to-day, I'm a lead therapist at Project Hope. I work with autistic clients, and I also manage their social media. So I'm very busy.
I bet. No, that sounds fascinating. And it's great that you can give back to the community and be in the community as well. And I think that that's one thing I've found so refreshing. I mean, I came into the community as a mom and then had a late diagnosis and felt even more about being a part of something that I found something I finally belonged to and people I could relate with and have great conversations with. So tell us a little bit about how that journey began for you and your diagnosis journey as a child and what that looked like, or as an adult, whatever time frame that was for you.
Yeah. So when I was very young, my mom brought up concerns about autism to the pediatricians, but I like to joke that in the 90s, girls couldn't catch autism. I guess. I don't know. Doctors were just like so confused on the fact that girls can also be on the autism spectrum. And so despite her seeing concerns in early childhood, like extreme sensory aversions and meltdowns, they wouldn't even entertain the idea of looking into that further. So it wasn't until I was failing the third grade and was talking about, not wanting to be on the earth anymore, that anybody was able to take that seriously. And it was primarily because of academic deficits, was the only time that professionals had considered that. So after a bunch of private pay testing in Orlando, that's when I got the diagnosis of autism at the age of 10.
Wow. Too late for you to have gone through that. And I'm so sorry you had to go through those things. And
yeah,
there's like this value to the knowledge. And that's a lot of parents are afraid of getting a diagnosis and what that looks like. But let's talk about what it looks like when you don't have that and you don't have access to the support and you don't have a belief system, if you will, around you to help really guide you and empower you for the skills that you need to be built on and the challenges that you need help to overcome. That's really great that, your mom just fought for that support, it sounds like. And sometimes it's great that we have those people fighting for us in those corners. And then where does that look like the advocacy take a turn for you? And where do you find yourself fitting into that and building your future on that?
On what?
On the advocacy of your own, having your own diagnosis. Like, when did you start your advocacy work?
It was probably around the time that Love on the Spectrum came out. I had a Facebook page that I, was intentional about sharing specific information that I thought might be helpful to people, but it really wasn't, influenced at all by I don't even think I posted a selfie on there for the longest time. Like, I didn't necessarily want my name or my face attached to it. And I don't really know that I had a reason for it. I just thought that that was not necessary. And then after the show came out, I kind of realized that having a name and a face definitely adds something valuable to people, gives them something to connect with. And so it kind of just, like I said, it grew from there.
Yeah. How was that for you? That that explosion of social media and everything. How was that for your senses, and kind of how did that play on you and how did it affect you in your personal life?
They told us that that would happen, that our social medias would kind of take off, that people would be messaging us, people in the grocery store might ask to take selfies, but they really didn't, and maybe they didn't know, but they didn't really explain to what extent that that might happen. So I think all of us, with maybe the exception of Danny, because she, I think, went into it knowing a little bit more than the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think we didn't know what to expect. And so there's no one you can ask. It's not like I know someone else who's been on Netflix who's like, what's the experience like for you? There's no one in your life understands. It's an
Yeah.
experience that only you have, and you have that by yourself.
Wow. Wow. How was that experience? Tell us about that. And what, like, what did you learn from that experience about yourself?
I learned that I work really well under pressure. Like I kind of knew that already, that I could do things even when the situation was challenging, but I didn't know to what degree that I was capable of doing that. They really pushed us for filming. They had a deadline. They're trying to get it done in a certain amount of days. They're not trying to extend their travel. So you gotta be able to keep up with them. It was 8 hours of filming every day. And that was challenging, but I did
Absolutely.
it.
Great job, by the way, too. I loved watching all of the seasons of Love on the Spectrum. Have been just incredible. Australia, US, it's been amazing to finally see representation in the media that's authentic. What do you think and say to people that bring that up, that say that it's, it's troubling to the cast members themselves?
I mean, usually my feedback to that is to just ask the cast members. Very few people
Yeah,
who are saying like, "Oh man, this was terrible." Like, have you asked us, or are you just deciding it's terrible?
I
I would
agree.
say they're not usually asking; they're just drawing their own conclusions.
No, I couldn't agree with you more, because I have shared several things, and people say, "Oh, I don't like the representation," and I say, "Well, I know people on the show. This is for them. This is for them. For me to share this for them, not for you. You don't have to like it or like the post for that matter, right?" So yeah, I think that it's really a delicate situation, and too, especially um do the other cast members have their families and stuff help them manage like the social media aspect of those things?
Yeah, I think most of them. I don't know about Danny, but I think most people, their social media is managed by their families. Yes.
Yeah, which is probably nice, because then they're not maybe exposed to as much
Yeah, I'm
that
jealous a lot of the
in
time.
there.
Yeah. I
Oh
do
my
not get support in that area. So
Oh, wow. I can't imagine. How did it affect your life in dating? Have you found that it's something you want to keep pursuing? Are you dating right now? Or I don't know that.
I've
So that's
given
a good
up.
question. You've given up.
I don't know. I think I've become a bit of a workaholic. And so like all I do is go to work and go home. I travel a lot for conferences, but there's not very many single men at those places usually.
Yeah.
So it's been rough out there.
Well, and do you live on your own?
I live with roommates. Yep.
I have a tip that I learned so many years ago, and it was just, I can't even remember where I learned it from, but they said if you want to meet someone to fit into your life, make room for them in your closet. Clean half your closet out so that there's empty space, so that there's room for someone to come into your life. And it's just like a mental mindset, kind of put it forth into the universe, that you want to bring somebody, that you have space for them. So I
Oof, that's
don't know.
tough.
There's your tip. Yeah, right. And then maybe that'll then maybe you'll know when you're really ready or when you're not, then when you feel like that's a necessary or a good thing to do. That's good. That's interesting. um, let's see. We are really in an interesting era and of information and everything right now. And there's a lot of buzz, a lot of chatter, but I think it's the most exciting thing that autism is in the ears and mouths of more people than ever before.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean it's always positive or a great thing, but it's really cool that it's finally something I can, talk about at the grocery store, and it's more widely known than ever before. But there are a lot of misconceptions. What do you think are like the biggest misconceptions still in society right now?
Oof, I don't know. It's hard for me to answer that one. I am maybe skewed, maybe jaded, maybe a little bit bitter, or all of the above, just because I'm so entrenched in it that if you ask me, what's the biggest misconception around autism, I would say something about how people believe that if you prefer small spoons and are disgusted at the way that velvet feels, that you too may in fact have autism. And I don't
Yeah.
know that that's a super mainstream or widely held belief, but in the kind of neurodivergent world, it certainly can seem as though it may become a widely held belief.
Mm.
Um, and it's definitely frustrating to see some of those sensory experiences become trivialized. And I know
Yeah.
that's probably not the intent, but I do think that's still the effect.
Yeah. And it's really hard. I think that when we, especially when we're in positions where we need to use the right language, use the right references and things, then it gives you, uh, it gives you a playground, but there's boundaries that you need to definitely stay within, and it can be hard, and you can definitely lose. You can find yourself going down rabbit holes on social medias, things like that. But I think that information, for the most part, is moving in a positive direction. I surely hope so. I'm trying to do that, with educational summits, things like that, where I just have all autistic speakers. And I'm trying to just show that there's representation to be found everywhere.
Yeah.
And especially globally, like there's a lot of, places that still are so far behind, if that's fair to say, in their resources and their knowledge and their access to things. And so hopefully that will start to change in the world. What are you working on anything new or exciting right now?
Hmm. I feel like nothing stands out at the like if I have to think about it that long, probably the answer is
Yeah.
no.
That's great. What kind of question off the books? Like, what kind of hobbies, interests, and things like that do you find yourself leading into? Do you like to read or music? What do you like to do?
I have joked before that I kind of suck at having autism because I don't like anything,
I like
which is really unfortunate on a personal level. I don't like fiction. I don't like fantasy. I don't like most TV shows. I don't like to read. I don't like to exercise. So finding hobbies and leisure activities is actually very challenging for me. And I don't know if it's just that traditional, autism fueled resistance to new things, or if it's some other deeper existential something. I don't know. But finding hobbies outside of work is challenging for me as an adult.
Yeah. How about social life? How's that been for finding social circles? Easier now, or where do you find yourself there?
I think if you'd asked me a couple weeks ago, my answer would be different. However, recently I made a new friend from Instagram, which is not something I typically do. A lot of people will be like, "Oh my gosh, I live in your area. We should totally meet up." And followers are not friends. I'm sorry, they're just
Mhm.
not. Followers are more like clients than they are like friends. There's a power
Yeah.
imbalance. We are not the same. And when we do meet up, you will want something from me, and I will have to give it to you in whatever capacity that
Yeah.
is. They want an autograph, they want advice, they want me to help them with their autistic child. It's very sweet that they are so forthcoming with their appreciation, but it's not the same as a genuine friendship. However, someone else recommended this person to me. And so I guess that separation made it seem more like it could be a genuine friendship. And so
Yeah.
because it came from like a third party and they were like, "Oh, hey, I have this other friend who would love to be your friend. She's autistic, she's a therapist." And so we met up for dinner last week, and then I went to her house for dinner on Wednesday.
Wow.
So this is a new thing because I'm not someone who has ever had very many friends. So I'm very excited about this.
I have the same life. I have a wonderful husband that I've been best friends with for 21 years. So I guess that's the great part about it. And we have kids, but I don't have friends outside of my of him and our like house and everything. It's
Right.
that's our island of Bradfords. And that's okay. Like I've learned to just kind of love and appreciate, but that every once in a while when I do meet that person that I click with so great, and we can have like meaningful conversations. And I think it has a lot to do with that too. Finding those people you can have those meaningful conversations with, like you said, that don't want something from you. I love that you said that, because that's a tricky thing. especially when you're someone, and it sounds like I'm a very like extroverted, friendly, kind of take everyone in before, and that can be dangerous. And so I think that you're a little bit more guarded and a little bit smarter about that, which my daughter's that way too. And I admire that so much. I'm like so thankful. But no, I love that you said that, because it is true that there's an aspect of fanfare or followers that just, want something and don't really have, and it makes, I think it's kind of lonely feeling if you from that end too. I completely understand that. Oh gosh, sorry, I got a little off track. Yeah, well, I think that what Love on the Spectrum is doing is fantastic. What was it like working? Was Jennifer Cook working then? Is that who was your coach at the time? She's wonderful.
No, I did not get support.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that?
I don't know. I guess they're like, you don't need it, you're good, you've got it, figure it out, buddy.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that aspect for you then? Did you find that was a little bit discriminatory, or I shouldn't say too many things.
She and I live near each other. She's in North Carolina and I'm in South Carolina. So it would not have been very challenging for us to meet up.
Sure.
I assume they just were like, nah, you're good. You've had, some experience here and there, so you're good to go.
Wow. And maybe your experience might have been different if you would have had some different ideas or, things, but oh my goodness. Well, no matter what you decide and what works out, I just hope the best for you. And really thank you for being such a wonderful role model to everyone that is, looking at you for advice and for, helping. It's so hard too. I completely get it. How can you help my child? Well, you are probably the best person, not you, but the mom or the parent is the best person to help their own child. Yes. What is there any resources that you like, especially that you might give to families for when they come to you and ask you those types of things?
Yeah, that's actually the whole reason I wrote my book. I don't know if you have read it or not, but
no, tell me.
Yeah,
sorry, I didn't know.
Oh man.
Well, I guess I'm glad I'm learning then.
Yeah, my book is called Life on the Bridge: Linking My World to Yours as an Autistic Therapist, and the whole thing is supposed to be practical, actionable advice that you don't need resources for. You don't need all these materials, or you don't need a therapist. You can pick it up and pull something out of it that you can do today if you want to. So that was kind of my whole point, because I do get a lot of messages from families who are saying, how do I help my autistic child with communication? Or how do I help my autistic child with their sensory needs or accommodations? And I can't possibly answer every single message, but I care about every single message. So that's why I wrote that book.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. And I'll make sure that the links are there so that people can read that. And do you have is it on audio or on ebook or
just ebook? It's on Amazon, it's on Barnes & Noble online.
Love it. Love that. That's really helpful. What type of accommodations do you give to yourself now?
I mean, I feel like I've got the basic ones, the boring ones. I've got fidget toys, I've got headphones, I've got earplugs kind of wherever I go. I would say those are probably the big ones.
Yeah, that's good. And I think that depending on the support you need, then that's, you need to just follow and always just be authentic to what your needs are. And I think that that's hopefully something the world is being able to learn from social media and from TV and from the representations and things like that. Is there any Love on the Spectrum in the future for you, or
probably
anything
not
like that? let the other ones take shots at it and see how it turns out.
Yeah,
that's good. Do you stay in touch with a lot of the cast members?
Yeah, we don't live very close to each other, none of us really. I do live close to Tanner and Connor, but they have just such tight schedules that I think it might be challenging to get together with them.
Yeah. but a Zoom once in a while or something. And
Yeah.
I guess when you guys do like events or something, you guys probably you see you all in the pictures. So I'm assuming you get together. But how are those? How have the events been, and how's it been just like celebrating the accomplishments and nominated thing? Did you guys win? I don't watch TV, so I totally apologize for not like knowing about the award things, but yeah, how did that go? What was that like for you? Did you go?
I mean, I don't know. They didn't invite me.
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah, they didn't.
What
They invited them for season 3. They flew everybody out and paid for it. And maybe it's like, you learn some things the hard way.
Yeah.
Some of us I don't know if they knew that our feelings were hurt about it, or that if it mattered.
Yeah.
What they told us was that there wasn't a budget to fly us out, which, okay. You're Netflix, but okay.
Yeah.
So season 1 was not celebrated in that way, but I am not. Well, let me restart that. I'm very happy for season 3 that they have kind of learned to be a little bit more inclusive with those celebrations.
Good. No, I'm really glad to hear that too, but I am sorry that is the case that you had to go through. So good to know. I mean, I think this is something people don't know, right?
Right.
That they have this blurred perception of you were, oh, you got to get famous on this show, but this is real life and you still have to go to work and you
sure do.
Have to feed animals or whatnots and things like that. So yeah, I'm good. What are you going to do this weekend? Anything exciting coming up for the weekend?
I think I have to take my younger brother to dinner tonight. So that'll be.
Oh, and where do you go in South Carolina? South Carolina, is that where you said you lived?
Yeah, I don't know. I will probably let him pick. He's 19 and he's kind of a menace, but who wasn't at that age?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're not then yeah, check it. Something might be wrong. No, just kidding. I think that even my 15-year-old, I look at him and I'm like, you might be semi-verbal, but you still are giving me a good run for my teenage money here.
Yeah, teenagers are rotten.
No, it's been, and I have a 25-year-old stepdaughter. So I had kind of a 20-year parenting head start, not 20 years head start, 10-year head start on my own. So that gave me a lot of lessons to learn. And I brought a lot of it into my parenting now. And I can tell you my youngest, she's a spoiled, absolutely like we have a great communication. I want to be in her life in 20 years. So I'm setting up that foundation with her now because I think it's different. It's like a different mindset parenting thing altogether. So you have a while to worry about that. Is that something you want in your future?
I mean, unless, miraculous conception is going to happen, I think it's probably not going to happen.
But you would want to if you found the right partner.
I don't think so.
No, I like that too. I like women that kind of know what they want for their future because I think that it's just we all have to follow our own paths, and I think that the more acceptive we can be for everyone on where they're at on their journey, the easier it'll be for all of us to be nice to one another. I like to be kind. So I guess I'm a little different in that aspect than most of the people I run into the world, but that's all right. It's just so nice to get to know you, and I hope that we can stay in touch and I can just check in and see how you're doing, and you won't need to do anything or send me anything, I promise. And I'll just say hello. No, it's been really nice. Where can people, obviously you have your Instagram, things like that. What other social medias are you on where people can go and find you and follow you and support you?
I'm everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, and thank you. Thank you for doing the work you're doing. And what does your everyday job look like when you work? Are you working with adults or with kiddos?
It's changing. I am moving out of direct service and into more conceptual work, a lot of writing, a lot of social media stuff, more projects, more presentations. So I will be sad to leave direct service, but I will still be very involved with those processes. So not too sad.
Yeah, right? No, and it's kind of nice to do another aspect of things.
Right.
I like that. So good for you. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah. Thank you for having
I
me.
appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to stay in touch. So I will
Sure.
chat with you later.